What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett from Rants. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. We're on the road to 1,000, and we hope you guys can help us get there. Alright, so Season 3, Episode 4 of Mayans M.C. Overall, I thought it was actually a pretty entertaining episode. A lot of big things happened. A lot of, I guess you could say, foreshadowing of even worse things to come, and maybe how the season will play out. I really think drop some hints this episode. Uh, I won't go so far to say that it was an episode that, while it was entertaining, there was to me some low levels for some characters on it. But overall, I did actually really enjoy it. But let me just go ahead and get right into my initial thoughts. We finally find out what that date is that they keep mentioning for Bishop and why he's kind of so grumpy. Turns out his child died on that, I guess, on that date, and or that's the anniversary of his child's death, and we get to see him at his lowest point. Now, I've really enjoyed Bishop this season so far. You know, I felt like the first couple seasons, he was just like, he was an interesting character, but they never brought him to the next level. Getting to see maybe a little bit of his home life, something that really has been missing from Mayans MC from the very get go. You know, if you remember in Sons of Anarchy, that was something that we got to see a lot of. We got to see a lot of the main characters' personal lives, and that's just something that has been totally missing, I think, from Mayans MC, except for Coco and, of course, the Reyes brothers. But as far as, you know, Hank, Bishop, all those others, we've never really got to actually see a lot of who they are outside of Mayans, basically. So, I mean, I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed his comeback with his wife, where he was like, well, yeah, you know, I'm paraphrasing when I say it, but he's like, she's like, oh, well, you know, she gets him and she brings him inside, and I guess it would be his wife, I guess you could say, but she gets him and she brings him inside, and you know, she's like, I'm moving on from, with my life, even though our son died, and she's like, uh, does that make me a bad person? And he's like, yeah. Like, I mean, it was just, he said it a different way, but just the way he said it was just like, I don't know. I don't know if he was being a real dick when he was doing that, or if he was um, just being real in that moment, as a father. And maybe, I guess, an ex-husband to a certain extent too. But I feel like in a lot of other shows they've been like, "Oh no, no, no," and they would just been played it off in that way, like it was somehow his fault for even letting her think a such thing like that. So I enjoyed that they kind of gave some balls to Bishop in that regard, where he just kind of like stands up for himself, stands up for what he thinks. And you know what? He can writhe in his own misery, and that's fine, because you know what? Being a head of a gang, being a father, sometimes that's just life in general. So I mean, I enjoyed his character so far. I'm hoping that they even expand upon him even further. It looks like with Hank, we're going to get to see a little bit more. Maybe get to see a little bit of his love life, see a little bit of exactly what he's made of. He's got more. I always thought Hank was like the Bobby of this series. Bobby, of course, from Sons of Anarchy, where, he's got kind of a funny way about him. He's real nice. He's real polite. No one really has that much of a problem with him. So I've enjoyed, of course, with him. Where I felt like the lowest moments were of a relationship that I really actually enjoy. I enjoy the Angel Gabi relationship. I thought it was a great until the very end when they went to make love. and he starts seeing all these flashbacks of all these bad things that he's done in his past, and that causes him to kind of, back away from her a little bit. Um, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have those kind of feelings, because look, I think he's a pretty decent guy, and he's done some really terrible things in his life, things that he's had sometimes had to do. And some things that just basically comes with the life that he's chosen. But where I had a problem with it was not with Easy in this regard, but with Gabi. I felt Gabi just all of a sudden was like, "Oh wow, you've got, maybe we're moving too strong or something along those lines." She's like, "No, I don't like this, and if you can't get over whatever's bugging you, then I'm gone." I just kind of felt like that was a little bit too quick, especially for what her character has been shown in the past. She's been really good with Easy and Angel's father. She seemed really compassionate. She seemed like she cares a lot about her family, and she seemed like she cares a lot about Easy. So I kind of was a little bit shocked when she was kind of like, "I'm gonna bolt because you're having some hesitation with me about something." So I was a little bit disappointed. I thought maybe that was a little bit bad acting on her part, bad writing in that regard as well. But I just didn't feel like it fit with her character that we had seen so up to this point, I guess you could say. Um, as far as Angel is concerned, I have had a problem with Angel this entire season. Adelita, I felt like he was a little bit too sex crazed. I get it. People can say, well, he is trying to drown away his sorrows with other things. But, I don't know. I guess as a father myself, I was kind of like, oh man, he's really being a real douche when it comes to some things, because he don't know if his child is alive. He don't know if Adelita is alive. He don't know what is going on, and he's just out there having threesomes. I didn't think that was a good look for him. It's going to be hard for me to really like him for the rest of the season unless he gets, his eggs in order, basically. I thought he was really good with Adelita, but at the same time, um, I thought, uh, him not pressing her further on, hey, what happened to our child? She comes and she tells him, our child is dead. And I just kind of felt like he's not like, oh, wow, what happened to it? All this, and like, I guess maybe I was expecting maybe a bloodier, angrier Angel in it. Instead, he was kind of laid back and like, hey, how can I help you? And I guess I kind of get it to a certain extent. He's like, there was nothing I could do at this point. I got to take care of the one that I've got right now, and that is Adelita. And of course, she's been through a lot. And so I understand, I guess, to a certain extent, not pressing her so hard about what happened. But at the same time, I kind of am a little bit disappointed that he's not showing this rage, I guess, to get this the same rage that we saw in season 2. We're not seeing in season 3. When it comes to Adelita, or when it came to his son, we're not seeing that same rage where he's willing to take on the world anymore. And so this is more of a laid back, little too laid back Angel for my liking. But yeah, I mean, another one that is just, I feel like has just completely gone off the rails. I never had a problem with Miguel that much. I always thought he was a weak villain. I thought he was weak. But the point that he's got so crazed with his mother's death. See, I kind of feel like you want to talk about Angel and Miguel. To me, they're taking on. Miguel is taking on the action. I felt like Miguel should have the storyline that Angel has, or the demeanor, I guess, of the storyline about his mother's death, where he's coming to terms with it in a different way. But instead, he's the one that's lashing out. He's the one that's ruining his marriage, ruining everything he's got, basically letting his cartel just completely and totally fall apart while he's off philandering with somebody else. Like, I mean, and even his mistress thinks he's weak. Like, I mean, it just, I wanted to see, um, after his mother's death, I wanted him to step up his game. And instead, he's done nothing but pout. We've seen him pout with her driver by killing him. We've seen him pout with the therapist that was with his mother. We've seen him pout with his wife a few times. We've even seen him pout with his mistress. I don't like the idea of this head of the cartel being so fragile. I mean, I get it. That's his mom and all. But at the same time, this dude is not as hardcore as what he should be. At least for a show like this, he appears really weak and really fragile. Um, I'm hoping that they kind of maybe make him a little bit hardened. But I kind of feel like in the way that they made him hardened makes him more unlikable. Where he's hardened towards his wife. He's hardened even towards his son. Where, of course, he lashes out at both of them, or at his wife, but right in front of his son, in this, just really crazed way. But he don't show that same aggression when it comes to taking care of what needs to be done with his cartel. In fact, the whole cartel thing has just been kind of put in the back burner this season, which I don't really understand. I actually really enjoyed it the first two seasons. The whole back and forth between him and Adelita even was fun in season two. Um, so I don't really understand exactly where they're going with this. I feels like this season is going to be centered around um, basically the Mayans on Mayans fight, and possibly now after Montez's demise, we might see a little bit of aggression when it comes to Sons of Anarchy. Now, coming into this season, I actually really thought that we were going to get an SOA and Mayans confrontation to the extreme. I thought there was going to be a war that was going to go on. I don't. I no longer feel that way. I feel like most of this. I feel like Montez's death, while it might, I guess, be pinned on the Mayans in some form or fashion, I don't think it's going to escalate into an all-out war. I think where the all-out war is going to happen is between the Mayans, the different charters of the Mayans fighting over supremacy. Bishop has really played a move that there's really no going back to. The other kings are not going to allow him to stay in power any longer, or that charter to maybe even exist, unless something changes drastically. I don't feel like moving the drugs and getting this big score is really going to help him in the way that he's hoping it will. I think we're going to see an outward confrontation between these different charters, and they're going to have to pick sides. Now, do I believe Bishop and them are going to win? Yes, of course, but it's going to be bloody. It's going to be bloody, and we're going to have to see where whether Alvarez steps in, because it seems like even though he's no longer a Mayan, which even Bishop states, he still has a lot of pull with the other Mayan members and even with the leaders of it. So if he steps in and he tells them what should be done, I feel like they will listen, even Bishop to a certain extent. But we'll just have to see. Maybe since Bishop kind of blown Alvarez off and maybe made him an enemy, we might see maybe the downfall of at least Bishop, I guess. Although I'm very skeptical at this point that that would actually occur. But overall, I mean, I thought the episode was good. Um, of course, the whole Vicky dying thing, that really to me didn't really play that much of a role in anything. I know a lot of people think that that's really a big deal. I didn't really think that was a big deal. Um, I think we'll find out at the end of the season she's not the rat, that someone else is. Um, Probably the one thing that I can really just that I just really hate, besides the EZ and Gabi relationship problems of this episode, is Coco. Coco's storyline is just abhorrent. It's just bad all the way around. It's like Juice 2.0. Like there is so many things that are similar to what we experienced in Sons of Anarchy with Juice, with Coco. You know, where he's going to be blackmailed into doing something that, stealing from his gang. He's going to get caught, and then that's either going to end up to him either taking his own life or one of the gang members, one of the Mayans, taking his life, basically. Um, I think that's going to be a really sad end for what really could have been a really interesting character. One that really was in season two was beginning to show some real depth. In character. He was trying to get his daughter back on track. He was trying to be the father that he had really not been for, or really been hesitant to be for all these years. So he was trying to make up for lost time. It seemed like after he had that trouble with his eye, and all the trouble that went on with thinking he was going to be blind, um, he just hasn't been the same. I've never, even in a show like this, I've never really liked the episodes or the characters that are, that they go through this addiction thing, and I get it. That's a part of life in a lot of different ways, but I feel like they never, most, or at least most shows, don't ever go into the dirty details of what addiction is really like. They show a little bit of, they break the surface a little bit, but they don't go into the really hard, really gut wrenching, heart wrenching moments. And if they did that with Coco's addiction problem, I would be a little bit more open to it. But I feel like they just are gonna just scratch the surface of it, being like, well, he's a junkie, and he's now a threat to the whole organization as a whole, or the whole gang, I guess you could say, and they're going to end up having to squash it. And I feel like his story is just going to end on a sad note. And I at this point, I just don't. I just see him as another Juice character, except the only difference being I don't see Coco making it out this season. I really don't. I think this will be Coco's last season. Where Juice made it to basically almost the very end. Um, I don't see it. I don't see his. Let me just put it this way. I don't see um, his story arc going over multiple seasons, whether it be addiction and getting rehabilitated or whatever it means. I don't see that happening simply because there is too many members of Mayans that are now aware of his addiction and what exactly he is right now, and they're just not going to be able to tolerate it because, well, you know what, they run drugs. So the last thing you want is basically someone that could be blackmailed just like what he's being right now into stealing from them or doing whatever. He's just he's just too much of a maverick when it comes to that. He's going to have to be sadly put down, unfortunately. So yeah, there was some good and there was some bad in this episode. Overall, I did really enjoy it. I would give it probably like a 7.5. That feels fair out of 10. Simply because I thought Gabby's overreacted a little bit. That felt a little out of character for her. I didn't really like Galindo's overreaction as well. I haven't really enjoyed his storyline this season. As far as Emily is concerned, I never liked her, so it doesn't matter. Even talking about her, to me, she was a useless character from episode 1 of season 1 to basically now. I thought she was a generic Tara, basically. Um, but as far as Angel is concerned, like I said, I feel like they need to show a little bit more the aggression that he had in season 2. They need to show it a little bit more. But I am with Angel. I do believe that you will see a little bit more of that going forward. So I am a little bit more hopeful, and that's the reason why I don't hate on that a little too much, is because I do believe that we will see the real Angel come to light pretty soon. But overall, I did enjoy it. Like I said, I would give it about a 7.5 simply because of those flaws. But there was a lot of good things. It kept me interested from beginning to end. So overall, I really liked it. I'm more excited now. After the first 2 episodes, I was kind of like, oh man, what is going on here? Like, this is incredibly boring. Um, because like they wasn't really playing up the Montez thing. The Montez death was just, I felt like they gave that away in the trailer, so it's like that's not really of any shock to anybody about that. Whether it plays a big role in the future, we'll just have to see. I think it'll be like a little bump, but I don't see it being an all-out war overall with SOA. So to me, I would say that's kind of like a moment for me. But we'll just have to see. Next episode, I expect it to be even better. I expect it seems like the story is really coming into itself after a really slow start in episode 1 and 2. It's really picked up the last 2 episodes. So I'm really looking forward to next episode. Guys, leave a comment down below. Let me know what y'all think of this episode. And just what y'all think about the season just in general. Do you think I'm being a little bit too hard on Galindo or too hard on Angel? There's a part of me that says I'm being a little bit too hard on Angel to a certain extent, because I realize the position that he's in with Adelita. He's in a position where that she's unstable as is, and he's got to keep her together before he can truly get answers about his child. So you know what? I'll give him maybe a slight little pass on it. But overall, I haven't really enjoyed his story arc so far. But hey, you know what? If the episode's picking up, the action of it, then I expect his character arc to pick up as well. Hopefully, Gabi will be back to who she was before, and hopefully, she'll be a good stabilizer for Easy, because she's really good for Easy. She's actually made Easy a more interesting character this season. But we'll just have to see, guys. But like I said, leave a comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.